This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, I'm Don Farber, and on behalf of Sage Software, I'd like to welcome you to this 15-minute presentation on Sage Alerts and Workflow. We'll begin by describing what Alerts and Workflow is. We'll review its components, count down its top 10 uses, and finish up with a live demo of the Alerts and Workflow application. So, let's get right to it. Alerts and Workflow is an application that detects critical, time-sensitive business conditions within your Sage HRMS solution and automatically responds to those conditions as needed. This is called actionable insight, and it has three benefits. First, it automates exception management by identifying and responding to potential problems and anomalies before they become real problems. Second, actionable insight automates those repetitive, redundant tasks that are currently done manually and use up precious human resources. After all, if a process like ensuring health screenings can be automated, it should be automated. And thirdly, actionable insight frees up your staff's time for those tasks that uniquely require human intervention. Just think what your HR department could do with an additional 10, 20, or 30 hours of staff time every month. So, let's take a look at the components of Alerts and Workflow. Alerts and Workflow watches over your HRMS solution for critical, time-sensitive business conditions, whether it's a failed drug test, excessive absenteeism, or changes to employee benefits. Alerts and Workflow identifies any employee-related conditions that are important to your organization. And that goes beyond your HR solution. If you have other apps, even cloud-based apps, Alerts and Workflow can identify and respond to activities in them as well. So let's talk about how Alerts and Workflow responds to those activities. The most common response is to trigger alerts, whether to a member of your HR staff, an employee, or even a service provider. Alerts and Workflow generates and delivers the right information to the right people at the right time. And those alerts can be delivered via email, text message, and dynamic web dashboard. But sometimes a simple text message or email isn't sufficient. For upcoming staff reviews, you might need to send employees a self-evaluation form. For upcoming classes, you might need to generate a registration form. And that's why Alerts and Workflow includes the ability to generate and deliver all of your organization's standard forms and documents in any format you require. Alerts and Workflow also generates and delivers analytical reports designed in Crystal, in SSRS, or with other reporting tools. And we're not talking about just scheduled reports either. With Alerts and Workflow, you can associate a report to a business condition, such as an employee absenteeism report that gets delivered only if and when a staffer misses more than X days or hours of work time. Sometimes the most valuable alert you can send is a picture. For example, you might want to know about any departments that have recorded excessive absenteeism over the last few months. Alerts and Workflow can identify such trends and then alert you via a nice looking chart, such as a bar chart showing the last 3, 6, or 9 months of departmental absenteeism. And then we come to the workflow part of Alerts and Workflow. And this is important because although the most common use of the application is to trigger notifications, Alerts and Workflow can trigger updates back into your HR and related business applications. And so if, for example, an employee has repeatedly failed drug tests, Alerts and Workflow can automatically change that employee's status to on probation. Or if an employee's review becomes overdue, Alerts and Workflow can schedule them for a meeting with their manager. So now let's take a look at how customers are using Sage Alerts and Workflow. Let's begin with the onboarding of new employees. There's a lot of things that need to happen, and in a particular order, to get a new staffer enrolled, informed, and enabled. The last thing you want is a new hire playing solitaire while waiting for the next step in the onboarding process. Alerts and Workflow ensures an efficient onboarding process by keeping that process moving. By far the most common use of Alerts and Workflow is to prevent you and your employees from saying, "If only we had known." And since you know what employees need to be reminded about, why not automate the reminder process? In this example, health test reminders are automatically generated and delivered to all employees due for testing within the next 30 days. Now here we're looking at the actual alert message design process right in Alerts and Workflow. When this alert is delivered, the section in green will be repeated for each employee who has absences scheduled to start today. Of course, sometimes the most important information you need to know about isn't what has happened, but rather what was supposed to happen, but didn't. That's what we call inactivity monitoring. And when it comes to benefits enrollments, knowing who hasn't signed up is every bit as important as knowing who has. And when it comes to keeping informed, no one method of communications fits everyone's needs. That's why Alerts and Workflow not only includes multiple alert methods, but also multiple alert formats, because sometimes a picture really is worth 1,000 words. Here we're looking at the design of a graphic alert, a bar chart showing the number of certifications about to expire per employee. But occasionally, an alert recipient needs even more details, details that can be found only in an analytical report, such as an absenteeism report, or, as in this case, a report on training course details. Alerts and Workflow supports a number of different reporting tools, including Crystal Reports, Microsoft SQL Server Reporting Services, Sage Intelligence, and Sage Enterprise Intelligence. Even without these reporting tools, Alerts and Workflow makes the alert message design process quick, easy, and intuitive. In this illustration, you're looking at a text or SMS alert message regarding part of an employee's termination process. All of your HR data fields, such as the employee's name, can be easily dragged and dropped into the outgoing alert message. And note, the application is called Sage Alerts and Workflow, and for good reason. Being notified about critical employee activities is good. Automatically responding to those activities is even better. Whether it's to auto-deliver employee performance forms to the appropriate staffers and their supervisors, or to auto-schedule performance review meetings, Alerts and Workflow ensures that critical organizational activities get done and on time. And although remembering to wish an employee happy birthday on their special day isn't a critical business activity, it is one of many such activities that often fall by the wayside simply because no one remembered or had the time. Happy birthday, happy anniversary, congratulations on your promotion, all those little things that can add up to so much you can now leave to Alerts and Workflow. But perhaps most important of all in the area of human resources is the ability to identify and respond to changes in an employee's status. A change to their position or salary, a change to their benefits, a change to their manager. Alerts and Workflow knows whenever employee-related data has changed, including what it changed from and to. So now let's take a look at Alerts and Workflow in action. So we'll exit out of our PowerPoint and we'll jump into the Sage Alerts and Workflow solution. Alerts and Workflow comes with a large selection of pre-configured events for your HRMS solution. We're going to take a look at one of them, an event that watches for certifications that are due to expire within the next 30 days. Each event consists of 5 main components, and they're highlighted on the left-hand side of our window. First is the event's details. Notice the checkbox titled Repeat Notification for Triggered Items. An event can send out either one-time or repeat alerts. And since we want to continue to remind employees about expiring certifications until they're renewed, we're going to check this option on. Now let's move on to the event's schedule. Each event has its own schedule, and this event is running daily at 9 a.m. Those employee-related conditions that are very time-sensitive can be checked on a more frequent basis. Those that are less time-sensitive can be checked less often. It's important to note that schedules can account for such things as work days, work hours, and even your organization's holidays. Let's move on to the event's triggers. Triggers determine whether an event's conditions have been met. Alerts and Workflow supports a number of different trigger types, including database queries and a REST web service API. Let's take a closer look at this events query. We'll start off on the Columns tab. Alerts and Workflow includes a wizard-driven query designer, so you don't have to be a programmer or know any kind of SQL syntax. In this window, we've chosen what data fields within the HRMS application we wish to retrieve data from. But let's jump all the way over to the Preview tab so that you can see whether there are any matching records. In this case, certifications due to expire within 30 days. We'll enter our criteria, click on Preview, and see what we get. In fact, we've got 5 certifications about to expire, and we can look through their details to make sure our query is working exactly as intended. But let's get back to the event that's using this query. We'll move next on to the event's deliverables. Once you've identified the triggering conditions for an event, it's time to determine how you want the event to respond to those conditions if and when they occur. This is referred to as an event's deliverables divided into 3 groups. And this event has 5 deliverables defined for it. Let's begin with the most common deliverable, triggering an email alert about this event. Alerts and Workflow lets you easily design attractive and meaningful alerts. In this case, we're looking at an HTML email with a table showing certifications about to expire. The line in light green is repeated for each matching certification. Note that you don't have to know HTML syntax. Alerts and Workflow includes a word-like editor to easily design the exact message that you require. Let's move on to our alert via text or SMS. Another popular alert delivery method is SMS or text messaging. Naturally, the message here will be a lot shorter than the one sent out via email. And the alerts don't stop there. Note how under the deliverables for this event, Alerts and Workflow is automatically generating a certification expiration report as well as a chart that shows the number of expiring certifications per employee. And notice that the rightmost list of deliverables is under the Action heading. These are a variety of APIs, including a REST web service, to dynamically add or update information in both on-prem and web-based applications. The Web API is one of 5 different kinds of actions that Alerts and Workflow can perform when an event is triggered. Now let's move on to the event's subscribers. Subscribers are recipients of alert messages. Alerts and Workflow separates recipients into 2 groups, standard and advanced. Standard subscribers are individuals or groups to be notified. And in this event's case, we're notifying both myself and our human resources group. However, it's often the case that you want to notify 1 or more people related to the records being triggered, and this event is a perfect example. In this case, the most important people to be notified about expiring certifications are the employees themselves, and potentially even their managers. And so, we'll take a look at the advanced subscribers for this event. On this advanced tab, Alerts and Workflow is being told to use an employee's email address to notify them about their expiring certifications. So that's how Alerts and Workflow operates. But before we jump back into our presentation, I'd like to share one more aspect of Alerts and Workflow, an example of a delivered email alert message. Here we're looking at an email alert triggered by 5 certifications about to expire in our HRMS system. The email also includes an attached bar chart showing the total number of certifications per employee. Now let's jump back into our PowerPoint for a couple final slides. First, Alerts and Workflow needs minimal oversight. With over 12,000 customers worldwide, we receive an average of just under 6 new support requests a day. It really is a set it and forget it solution. And second, ROI. Alerts and Workflow automates a minimum of 20 minutes worth of activities per HR user per day. So, If you have 6 HR application users, you can expect at the end of a year to have regained at least 66 days worth of HR employee time. So, on behalf of Sage Alerts and Workflow, I'd like to thank you for your time and interest. If you have any questions, please send them to your Sage business partner and we'll get them answered. And I encourage you to give Alerts and Workflow a try. I think you'll be glad you did. Thanks very much.